Behind the lights of the Hungarian Grand Prix circuit, while millions thought Lewis Hamilton had lost his edge, a secret game was underway. From what seemed like his lowest point in 12th place, Hamilton was planning a move that would rattle Ferrari. This strategy wasn't just a gamble on the track. It was a message and a warning that the champion wasn't giving up. Was this a fleeting ploy, or the beginning of a grand plan that could change the course of the Formula One season? Let's find out. As the cameras panned to his teammate Charles Leclerc's spectacular pole position, cheers echoed across Hungary. But beneath the cheers, a single sentence from Lewis Hamilton cut like a cold knife. They might need a driver change. "I'm completely useless." To most, it sounded like the emotional lament of a frustrated 7-time world champion who truly understands Hamilton's mindset. It wasn't just an emotional outburst. It was a carefully coded message, a veiled statement designed to elicit a specific reaction. Hamilton knew that every word he spoke would be analyzed, twisted, and rehashed, and that was exactly what he wanted. Behind the seemingly calm Ferrari garage doors, a storm had been brewing since Friday's practice session. The engineering team was divided between two opposing philosophies. Leclerc insisted on a conservative approach, focusing on rear grip, minimizing tire degradation, and preparing the car for the predicted colder track conditions on race day. This strategy was safe, logical, and suited his precise driving style. In contrast, Hamilton's car was tuned to the extreme, with stiff suspension, a front end that dug into the asphalt, and unpredictable corner entry. While this setup made the car faster over a single lap, it was nearly unmanageable over the long haul. No driver would voluntarily choose such specifications, unless something bigger was at play. Some within the team whispered that Hamilton was deliberately sacrificing his weekend to test the limits of the SF26 in extreme conditions. Others suspected that he was sending a subtle message to Ferrari that their development philosophy needed to change drastically if they were to win the championship, because the car was far from perfect. For Q2, eliminations in a car that should have had pole position weren't just a series of bad results. For Lewis Hamilton, it was a narrative he deliberately allowed to develop. To the public, it might have looked like a decline in performance, but beneath that, there was a message he wanted to convey. This wasn't about the incompetence of a world champion, but about revealing the system's true colors. "Sometimes you don't fight a machine with a fight," he said dryly after qualifying. "You let it reveal itself." The phrase might sound poetic, even mysterious, but that was the essence of Hamilton's strategy, turning his weakness into a mirror, so that everyone, including his own team, could see how he felt. In Hungary, his plan reached its zenith. He didn't shout, he didn't blame anyone. He simply let the car speak through data, which could not be contradicted by opinions or internal team politics. In the world of criminal investigation, every case has a key crime scene. For Hamilton, that spot was turn 5 at the Hungarian. While reviewing the telemetry analysis with his engineers, Hamilton noticed an anomaly in the braking graphs for that corner that couldn't be ignored. The brake pedal vibrated as if in conflict with the hydraulic system. The rear of the car appeared to lose its anchor, swaying with every shift in weight. Most strikingly, the pressure on the front wheels fluctuated wildly, as if the car refused to obey the driver's commands. To the casual fan, this might have looked like driver error, overbraking, understeering, or a miscalculation. But Hamilton knew better. This wasn't human error. It was a sign of a deeper mechanical problem. A comparison with Charles Leclerc's car data further clarifies the narrative. In the same corner, Leclerc's car moved with the smooth stability of a knife cutting through air. Every command from the pedals and steering wheel was perfectly executed. There was no vibration or uncertainty. The difference wasn't about talent. It was about who could trust their car and who was betrayed by the machine that should have been their ally. Lewis Hamilton had sensed that something was wrong since the second free practice session. The car should have been able to compete at the front, but it felt inconsistent. Rather than launching harsh criticism in front of the media, he chose to remain silent. This wasn't a resignation, but rather part of a well-thought-out strategy. For Hamilton, speaking too quickly would have sounded like making excuses. Complaining at the start of race week could easily be twisted into a narrative of a world champion losing his cool. So he held back, waiting for the right moment. He knew that if the issue exploded during qualifying in front of the cameras, At the most crucial moment, it would be much harder for the team, the media, and the decision-makers behind Ferrari to ignore. And that's exactly what happened. After a shocking qualifying result, Hamilton said something that seemed like an outburst of frustration, but was actually well thought out. "I'm absolutely useless." It wasn't just a complaint. He said it with theatrical precision, creating a sharp contrast between the public perception of a driver seemingly overwhelmed by emotions and the reality behind the scenes. There, Hamilton shone a spotlight on a structural problem that had been hidden for so long. With one sentence, he forced the system to show its true face. At Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton was the center of gravity. All technical and strategic decisions revolved around him, creating an ecosystem built to magnify his power. But at Ferrari, he was merely a guest in a house with traditions, hierarchies, and value systems that predated his arrival by far. In Hungary, that gap became even more pronounced, not just in the car's performance, but also in the way the team operated. Charles Leclerc, an integral part of the Ferrari project for years, was given space to follow his instincts. Just 3 hours before FP3, he could request significant changes to his car setup, and the team would move quickly to implement them. This was not just a technical decision, but also a symbol of trust and a testament to Leclerc's role in shaping Ferrari's identity. In contrast, Hamilton encountered an invisible wall. He repeatedly reported stability issues, but the answer was always the same, with intolerance. This response sounded neutral and professional, but beneath it lurked a different philosophy. With intolerance wasn't a solution. It was an invisible fence that limited his maneuverability. However, Hamilton's plan didn't end on Saturday. On Sunday, he reversed the narrative. The car, which had been erratic the day before, suddenly demonstrated cleaner rotation and cornering with no more problems. At turn 5, same car, same driver, different result. Every overtake wasn't just for position. It was a statement. It showed that the problems in qualifying weren't about him, but rather the decisions made behind the scenes at the end of the race. Hamilton didn't shout into the radio or raise his fist in the air. He simply nodded slowly. The mission wasn't about the scoreboard, it was about letting the data reveal the truth it wanted to hide. "If I were the problem, let's see what the race says." The Hungarian race answered it all. Ferrari may have won the headlines on Saturday with Leclerc's pole position, but on Sunday, Hamilton took the stage in a more subtle yet deadly way, exposing the system's flaws. The question is no longer whether Hamilton still has the speed. The real question is whether Ferrari has truly built a winning team or is merely constructing a narrative. Leave your thoughts below.